Tonight, Spirit Airlines shuts down after rescue talks collapse.
This morning when we got here, there was like, oh, we canceled all the flights.
That's bad. You don't do something like that to people.
The airline grounded by skyrocketing fuel costs and years of struggle.
If you have a flight scheduled with Spirit Airlines, don't show up at the airport.
I'm Allie Bauman in Newark, New Jersey. Spirit was once a high flyer offering deep discounts. What its demise means for you, no matter what airline you fly.
Also tonight, surging pump pain. Prices jumped to a new wartime high, up more than 30 cents this week.
Poor people cannot survive. The prices are so high.
I'm Olivia Gazis, traveling with the president in Florida. With prices pumped up, new details on how the White House is trying to contain voter backlash.
Dire straits. President Trump calls the U.S. blockade a very profitable business.
Who would have thought we were doing that? We're like pirates.
And new reporting on the hundreds of sailors with nowhere to go. Race to redistrict.
I'm Nicole Killian on Capitol Hill with the states that are scrambling to change their maps after a major Supreme Court ruling, how it could impact the makeup of Congress.
All that, plus a survival story. CBS's Itai Hodge shows us how an orphan mountain lion cub is clawing his way into people's hearts.
You're going to help me clean his butt?
Okay. This is the CBS Weekend News from New York with Jerika Duncan.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this Saturday. There is no more runway for Spirit Airlines. The discount carrier, known for its yellow planes with Howdy painted on the wingtips, ceased operations today. It had been struggling with skyrocketing fuel costs and mountains of debt. A proposed government bailout plan unraveled, leaving thousands of passengers, employees, and even investors in limbo. CBS's Allie Bauman is at Newark's Liberty International Airport and leads us off tonight. Allie, good evening.
Good evening, Jerika. For 34 years, Florida-based Spirit paved the way for so-called nickel and dime flights. Passengers could buy a $30 plane ticket but had to pay extra for everything, even a boarding pass. It collapsed today, facing intense competition, rising debt, and the skyrocketing cost of jet fuel.
It's just a joke, but it's real.
It's a big surprise for me. It's a big surprise.
I'm feel so stranded.
These passengers came to New York's LaGuardia Airport ready to fly, only to be grounded.
They're telling us that Spirit has been shut down. No email, no phone call, nothing of the sort.
Spirit's final flight landed overnight at Dallas-Fort Worth, where air traffic controllers said goodbye to the pilots.
Well, it was a pleasure working with you guys, and I wish you the best. Thank you very much.
The airline ran out of cash after 2 bankruptcy filings in the last 2 years. Today, Spirit's CEO said there was no alternative, blaming the sudden and sustained rise in fuel prices. Jet fuel prices are up more than 70% since the war with Iran began.
How does Spirit closing impact this industry overall?
In the short term, not that much, because they didn't fly that many people. But in the long term, for people who are leisure travelers, they're going to have to spend a lot more money to go to where they want to go.
The Trump administration had offered a $500 million bailout deal, but Spirit's bondholders opposed the terms. One of the creditors telling CBS's Chris Van Cleve, quote, "You can't breathe life into a corpse."
We're going to see a number of low-fare carriers either merge, be acquired, or fail, because the business model no longer works in an economic environment that's this harsh.
At its peak, Spirit employed 17,000 people tonight. Some of them who were still working as agents or pilots are like the passengers scrambling to find a way home. Jerika?
Yeah, scrambling, Allie, but what options do these Spirit ticket holders actually have?
Well, the transportation secretary said today that several airlines are offering passengers capped or discounted fares. For employees, they're offering spare seats and preferential employment interviews. But what passengers need to know, Jerika, is that those discounted rates are only going to last a few days, so anyone who needs to rebook should do so as soon as possible.
Allie Bauman in Newark, thank you. Now from the runway to the road. Today marks 61 days since the start of the Iran war, and gas prices They keep soaring. A gallon of regular averages $4.43 right now. That's up 35 cents this week and up $1.45 since the war began. The Midwest hardest hit. Gas prices in Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan up about $1 in the last 7 days. CBS's Olivia Gazis in Doral, Florida, has more. Olivia.
Jerika, the near doubling of fuel prices that led to Spirit's collapse is one of the starkest business losses of the Iran war so far. But the administration is pointing the finger elsewhere.
We had an airline go down because the markets were trying to allow two airlines to merge, make them stronger, and offer more competition for the American consumer.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy blamed Spirit Airlines' demise on the Biden administration for blocking a merger with JetBlue in 2024. The previous administration denied the deal over concerns it would remove a low-cost carrier and raise prices. The budget airline cited soaring fuel costs driven to historic highs by the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. That disruption now rippling through all of the economy.
It's really been hard because gas over $5 is hard, you know what I mean? This to fill up is like $80.
42% of Americans say they are cutting back on their household spending.
People are not going to spend as freely when they have to fill up their cars, and even if they're not filling up, it's like those high gas prices become a billboard and a signifier for all prices being higher.
With the midterms approaching, President Trump is promising prices will fall once the war ends. But Friday, he dismissed Iran's latest diplomatic offer and downplayed the rising prices.
I thought oil would be much higher than it turned out to be. It's going to come crashing down as soon as this war is over, and they're getting decimated.
How soon it may be over is still a question. The president told lawmakers on Friday that hostilities with Iran had, quote, terminated after an April ceasefire began. But he also said that Iran posed a significant threat to U.S. forces in the region. Jerika, there are still roughly 50,000 troops deployed there.
Olivia Gazis, thank you. President Trump is comparing the U.S. Navy to pirates enforcing the blockade on Iran near the Strait of Hormuz. Tonight, the U.S. is warning shipping companies they could face penalties for paying tolls to Iran to safely pass through that critical waterway. CBS's Ramy Asensio at our London bureau has much more. Ramy.
Jerika, good evening. Tonight, Iranian officials say that the ball is in America's court and that Iran does not welcome war but does not fear war either. 63 days in, this conflict is at a stalemate, and in the Strait of Hormuz, thousands of lives are on hold too.
The moment America became, in its own president's words, a pirate nation. U.S. Marines seizing an Iranian vessel, one of at least 3 ships boarded since the U.S. imposed a naval blockade on April 13th. Turning back at least 48 Iranian-linked ships and freezing billions in Iranian oil and cargo.
Who would have thought we were doing that? We're like pirates. We're sort of like pirates.
The world's most critical oil choke point has effectively been shut down. 3,000 ships a month before the war, now to almost none. But America is only half of this stranglehold story. Iran's Revolutionary Guard has launched more than 40 attacks and seizures on commercial vessels further inside the strait around its narrowest points. At least 10 merchant mariners have been killed, says the United Nations, and about 20,000 more are trapped by geography and in fear, like Captain Raman Kapoor from India.
My crew is, under constant stress ever since the war started, since we are stranded inside this conflict zone. And there is nothing much we can do.
Now it's been more than 2 months since those thousands on thousands of seafarers have been stuck. Some can get supplies sent to them. Others are rationing the food and the fresh water that they do have, hoping that the U.S. and Iran will make peace, Jerika, so they can all, at this point, sail home.
We'll see what happens. Ramy Asensio, thank you. Today, an emergency application was filed to the U.S. Supreme Court. The action was taken to restore access for Americans who received the abortion pill by mail. The makers of mifepristone filed the application to stay an appeals court decision that says the abortion medication can only be picked up in person. Tonight, new political turmoil. Alabama and Tennessee are the latest states rushing to redraw congressional districts after a Supreme Court ruling that further weakened voting rights. CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian has the latest. Nicole.
6 months out from the midterms, and the redistricting wars are intensifying for control of Congress after a recent Supreme Court ruling rolled back a key part of the Voting Rights Act. The Supreme Court's 6-3 decision to strike down Louisiana's congressional map hits right in the heart of Cleo Field's seat.
The district was created. First of all, Louisiana's minority population, black population, is over a third of the state.
The Democrat represents the 6th congressional district, which links from Shreveport to Baton Rouge. But the High Court ruled the newly drawn majority-minority district was an unconstitutional gerrymander since it was based on race. Congressman Troy Carter represents the other majority-minority district in New Orleans.
It can wipe out both of our seats. We can realistically end up having 6 congressional districts with no African American or Democratic representation.
Ahead of early voting this weekend, Louisiana officials suspended House primary elections slated for May 16th until the state can redraw its map.
I don't think that it's going to result in a loss of minority representation. And I think that we have to give the people a chance to draw their districts the way the people want to see them drawn.
Before the Supreme Court ruling, at least 7 states had already passed new congressional maps as part of mid-decade redistricting. Now, several southern states are using the High Court's decision to justify changes before the midterms, including Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee.
It was really not about, that little seat in Louisiana. It's about redistricting all over the nation. It's about the voting rights of people all over the nation.
While these new moves by southern states could potentially net more Republican seats, Democrats are vowing to fight back and are looking to other blue states that could possibly change their maps in the 2028 cycle. Jerika?
Nicole Killian, thank you. To the weekend weather now. A stormy start in Houston. Soaking rain led to slick roadways and some crashes, as you see there. Let's welcome in CBS News meteorologist Tammy Souza in Philadelphia with the forecast for the rest of us. Tammy.
Jerika, storms have been the story nationwide over the last several weeks, and it is not stopping. We have been watching from Texas across the Gulf Coast and into Florida some very heavy rain and some powerful storms. Now, this is beneficial rain, but it is not going to break that drought. What we're going to be watching once this moves out is another system starting to move into the Midwest and the plains. Now, this is going to be headed in tomorrow. We are going to be watching for these storms to move through. They're not as significant tomorrow. The tornado threat is low, but this does move into the wee hours of Tuesday morning, which is something that will bring concern because that is a more significant system. As far as the drought, it is going to continue. We are not getting any relief, especially in the southeast. All this rain, you think it would be great, but it's not happening. I guess the place that you want to be if you want no drought is here in the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. Jerika?
All right, Tammy, thank you so much. Straight ahead, why a new portrait of a British princess was shared today. But first, this story.
I'm Max Darrow in San Francisco, where just off the coast there's an unusually massive marine heat wave with no end in sight. The impact on sea life and beyond next on the CBS Weekend News.
The ocean off California keeps breaking heat records, 38 days so far this year. Experts say it could produce a stormy summer that threatens lives and devastates wildlife. CBS's Max Darrow joins us in San Francisco with those details. Max.
Good evening, Jerika. It may look gray and cold here in San Francisco, but just off the coast there is a serious marine heat wave. It stretches 1,500 miles from here to Mexico and well into the Pacific. Leading ocean scientists tell us it could last for months.
Sweating out there for sure.
Summertime is still a month away, yet surfer Lucas Harris is ready to trade in his wetsuit for trunks. That's unusual, even for sunny San Diego, and that has scientists troubled.
This has been going on since December. We've had temperatures that are 4 to 8 degrees higher than the normal temperatures for this time of year.
Melissa Carter at the Scripps Institution of Oceanography manages a program that logs daily ocean temperatures along the California coast. Their data goes back more than 100 years. A persistent high-pressure system has kept deep, cool waters from surfacing, leading to record-breaking ocean temperatures.
How long is this going to last? And that's the big question.
The marine heat wave is already making impacts. Dead birds washing ashore, starved by the cascading decline of sea life from microorganisms to the fish they eat. Scientists fear other sea life, like kelp and whales, could be at risk, and algae blooms could produce toxins and deplete oxygen in the ocean.
It can completely wipe out entire ecosystems, and that is the concern.
Dan Rutnick takes ocean temperatures further offshore using autonomous robots called gliders.
There are now forecasts that suggest that there will be an El Nino, but right now here it's already warm, which is unusual.
An El Nino year is when warm water from the equator pushes north. That could prolong the heat wave even further.
Warm ocean temperatures amplify hurricanes and atmospheric rivers. Jerika, if El Nino materializes, California could be in for some extreme weather events.
Max Darrow, thank you. Still ahead on the CBS Weekend News, an extraordinary rescue to save a humpback whale. We'll tell you how it all turned out. Stay with us. Look at that. Tonight, a tremendous run down the stretch for Golden Tempo. It beat the favorite Renegade to win the 152nd running of the Kentucky Derby. Golden Tempo was trained by a woman. That's a first for the winner at the Derby. Tonight, a humpback whale that had been stranded in shallow waters near Germany is back in the North Sea. The whale, nicknamed Temi, was released today after its plight and failing health captured global attention in early March. Efforts to coax Temi back to his natural habitat failed, so he was captured and moved to deep sea waters in a cargo ship. Tonight, a new photo of Britain's Princess Charlotte on her 11th birthday. It was shared by her parents, Prince William and Princess Kate. The image was taken during a family Easter trip. They also shared a video of Charlotte playing at the beach and petting the family's dogs, Otto, who just joined the family, and Orla. Next on the CBS Weekend News, a story of survival from the Oakland Zoo. But first, a look back at this day in history.
It's the maiden voyage to New York.
The long, silent black majority of South Africa has spoken clearly enough. Today, F.W. de Klerk conceded defeat in last week's historic election, and Nelson Mandela claimed a long-awaited victory.
We end tonight with one of the new stars at the Oakland Zoo capturing attention worldwide. In our Weekend Journal, CBS's Itai Had shows us the spotted species more often feared than fussed over.
At the Oakland Zoo, they see a lot of baby animals come and go. Most of them you'll never hear about, but every now and then, one stops people in their tracks.
These toys are a temporary replacement for the siblings that unfortunately he doesn't have anymore.
Amber Foley, the lead keeper here, says this little mountain lion cub named Crimson has managed to claw his way into people's hearts.
It's wild. Everyone all over social media is really taken to this guy. His story's really grown a huge fan following.
One of the youngest cubs the zoo has ever cared for, he was found alone in the Santa Monica Mountains at just 3 weeks old. No one knows exactly what happened, but it's possible his mother abandoned him because of his abnormality. Crimson is missing toes on one hind foot.
How big is he going to get?
They can get up to 200 to 300 pounds.
So far, 33 mountain lions have been taken in here, part of a broader industry shift towards rescue and rehabilitation over traditional exhibitions.
What do you say to people who say, I'm a little reluctant to go to zoos these days?
Yeah, well, I would say, number one, come get to know us.
Nick DeHasia, the zoo's CEO, says more time and resources are now going into animals like Crimson, who wouldn't survive on their own.
I mean, the zoos of the past, what people think about are animals in small spaces that are more voyeuristic, and you're looking at them sort of like a circus. I mean, that was the zoos of the past. It has completely changed.
You're gonna help me clean his butt?
Okay. Caring for them isn't always glamorous.
The mom usually uses her tongue to clean these babies.
I won't do that.
He may be a step behind, but perhaps not for long, because everyone loves an underdog, even when that underdog is a cat.
Yeah.
Itai Had, CBS News, Oakland, California.
Too bad he doesn't stay that small and that cute. But that is the CBS Weekend News for this Saturday. We thank you for watching. I'm Jerika Duncan in New York. Have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.